Picture this. It's late at night, you're home alone, and you are just drifting off to sleep in a perfectly quiet room. Then, suddenly, there is a violently loud bang at the front door. Instantly, your heart feels like it's going to explode out of your chest. You are wide awake, every muscle is tense, and you have an overwhelming, undeniable urge to either sprint out the back door or grab a heavy flashlight and prepare for a fight. In that moment, it feels like your conscious mind did a lot of rapid computational work. It feels like you heard the noise, rationally assessed the threat level, and made a calculated choice to prepare your body for combat. But looking at the timeline of a startle, there is a problem. Your body reacts in milliseconds, faster than the speed of conscious thought. It's why many psychologists argue that everything psychological is biological, suggesting that our mental states are often the results of physical processes we haven't even noticed yet. That sheer terror and the sudden physical readiness to defend yourself are the visible outputs of an invisible, involuntary chemical typhoon. This chemical surge hijacks the body well before a single conscious thought can take shape. So how exactly does a simple sound wave bouncing around your bedroom trigger such a massive, instantaneous physical reaction without ever asking for your permission? To answer that, we have to scale down from your dark bedroom and look closely at the microscopic architecture of your brain. We need to look at the primary driver of this reaction, the nerve cell, or neuron. In this diagram, you can see the basic anatomy of a neuron. These bushy, tree-like branches on the outside are the dendrites, and they act as the listeners, receiving data from the outside world. They pass that data to the center of the cell, the soma, which acts as the cell's life support hub. When those dendrites pick up a sudden sensory input, like a loud bang at the door, they activate the neuron. This shoots an electrical charge, called an action potential, away from the soma and down this long, cable-like extension called the axon. The axon is the neuron's talker. But here we run into a spatial problem. Neurons don't actually touch each other. When that electrical charge reaches the very end of the line, it hits a tiny microscopic gap called a synapse, which separates it from the dendrites of the next neuron in the chain. The electrical charge can't jump that empty space alone. Instead, it activates chemical messengers. These are neurotransmitters, flying across that gap and locking perfectly into the matching receptor sites on the neighboring cell. In the case of our midnight jump scare, your brain deploys excitatory neurotransmitters. Chemicals like norepinephrine flood the synapses, acting like a cellular alarm bell to instantly command alertness and arousal across your network. This highly mechanical process handles the entire emotional spectrum. When you feel a wave of intense pleasure, that is dopamine slotting into receptors. A stable, comfortable mood is regulated by serotonin. Because these neurons flick on and off with amazing speed, the nervous system operates a lot like sending a group text message. It delivers highly targeted, rapid-fire commands in a fraction of a second. The terrifying jolt that pulls you awake is the physical manifestation of millions of these microscopic text messages firing simultaneously to prioritize immediate survival. But an instant text message is too brief to get the whole job done. That fleeting neural spark simply cannot sustain the massive amount of physical energy you would need to actually fight off a home intruder or to sprint down the street to safety. For that sustained power, your body activates a secondary backup network, the endocrine system, which communicates using hormones rather than neurotransmitters. Looking at this systemic map of the body, we can trace this secondary chemical response right back to its source. Deep in the bunker of your brain is a pea-sized node called the pituitary gland. It acts as the master gland for the endocrine system, taking direct orders from your nervous system. Once the alarm sounds, the pituitary gland signals your adrenal glands, which are snuggled right on top of your kidneys. They immediately start pumping the hormone adrenaline directly into your bloodstream. As adrenaline washes through your circulatory system, it systematically jacks up your heart rate, spikes your blood pressure, and floods your body with blood sugar, delivering a massive, sustained wave of energy directly to your muscles. If a neural impulse is an instant text message, a hormone is a handwritten letter sent through the post office. It takes a little longer to arrive at its destination, but the impact of that physical letter lingers. This systemic flooding of your bloodstream is the reason your entire body feels physically primed for action, effectively bridging the gap between a fleeting neural pulse and your actual physical capability. which brings us back to your bedroom. You flick on the lights, ready for battle, only to realize that the loud bang was just your cat knocking a heavy book off a shelf. Your brain immediately recognizes that the threat level is 0. Here is the physiological anomaly. If your conscious mind knows you are completely safe, why is your heart still pounding and your hands still shaking 10 minutes later? It comes back to the mail. Those rapid neural text messages stopped firing the exact second you spotted the cat. But those chemical letters of adrenaline are already in transit. They are actively circulating through your bloodstream, and they linger. You cannot just logically decide to turn off fear. Your body literally has to wait for those chemical letters to filter out of your blood before your physical state can match your calm thoughts. As this flowchart shows, the chemical mind operates as a continuous feedback loop. Your nervous system detected a sound and directed the endocrine system to release hormones. Those hormones then fed physical data back to the brain to sustain your mood and keep you alert. While we often view our minds as separate from our bodies, this uncontrollable chemical loop shows just how deeply they are intertwined. Understand